Hello everyone, welcome to Green One Day at a Time. This is mid-July and at last the weather has finally picked up from the wet and cold days to dry, warm summers. It looks like almost summer has arrived suddenly, and the allotment and the open spaces around have all started to reflect the sudden change in weather. Everything is blooming, things are growing faster, and the allotment is looking full and lush. Let's have a quick look at what's growing at the time now. Black currants laden full with berries. I've already picked one set of harvest. It was around 300 grams of black currants, and I've made jam out of it. Gooseberries, there were quite a lot of gooseberries on it. We are eating as and when they ripen. So the red color, that's a red kind of gooseberry. So as they redden up, it gets much more sweeter. This is amaranth leaves. So there are some green ones in between. All the seeds were from the red plant, but then some have reverted back to their green color. Dwarf sunflower starting to bloom, some slug damage, not a lot, and that's a butternut squash that I'm planning to let it spread among the amaranth leaves. I can't see any flowers, but still there are some buds forming, which is a good sign. Some tomatoes here. These are late sown tomatoes. It's just starting to flower because of the weather, how it has been this year. Tomatoes haven't done well. So this is celery. So in my previous video I showed how I planted them all, and my honeyberry. I like the red stem of the plant. Now, one thing that has happened quite early this year because of the wet and warm weather is blight. It's arrived quite early this year. So these black spots are the blight on my potatoes. So because it's just starting, I'm going to try and slow down the spread of blight by cutting off the infested leaf. And if the plant is infected for more than 25%, then I'm chopping it off at the base. So there's the spots. So I will cut off that stem and then leave the rest of the plant as it is. So it will kind of allow you to slow down the spread of blight. However, the foliage that you cut off, you have to either burn it. So we are burning it in incinerator, or you have to put it in the black bin bag. Now, these are spinach leaves. They are ready to harvest. These are interplanted among in the squash bed. So there are some squashes forming. Some of them are forming. Some of them are just flowering. So here you can see there are squashes, but I don't think they will survive. But those might survive. They look much healthier. So here's one which is getting slightly bigger in form. I'm not sure what color it is. It's going to be when it is fully done. So there are some Swiss chard and spinach among the squashes, but again, because the weather, it's bolting quite quickly. Spinach is known to bolt when it is in hot weather. My first courgette, and there's another baby one. You can pick them at that stage, or you can even leave them to get bigger. Now these are cosmos, and this is another kind of courgette. I think it's a yellow courgette, that's why it looks yellow color. And mostly yellow courgettes leaves also will be yellow. I think there are quite a lot of courgette varieties. I'm not sure what all varieties there are because the labels have gone. Now this is purple mosh too. Very good harvest, but I had to cover it because of pigeons coming and sitting on them, creating a little seat, comfy seat, and they were munching on my leaves. So I covered it with pea netting, and they have been okay so far. This is pea in the pod. They're not big enough to pick, but there's only one plant of pea in the pod. I didn't have any more seeds, or the seeds I planted did not sprout well. These are Brussels sprouts, and that is broad beans. So because broad beans, as in when I'm picking, I'm chopping off the plant and putting it onto the soil. I will mix it in when I come in to plant the next set of crops, because broad bean plants are high in nitrogen and fixes nitrogen back to the soil, so I wouldn't take out the foliage or the root from the soil. The beans, some of the beans are not ready, so as they're ready, getting ready, I pick them. This is my first harvest of purple broad beans. I thought the bean itself will be purple, but apparently only the one of the outer coverings is. These are Brussels sprouts with beetroot. They are growing really well. I found a frog in this bed. Very happy to see a frog. It will keep my slugs population under control. More parsley and tomato. Again, tomatoes are struggling this year because of the weather. Mid-July, they are just flowering. This is a flat leaf parsley. You can harvest them from each of those bigger stems, and the smaller ones will grow up. See, there's more flowers. Compared to what it was last year, my flowers are just starting to open. This is a Russian giant sunflower and my lemon balm. Very fragrant lemon balm. Leave it to its own devices, it will cover your entire plot. I'm keeping it under control. One of my favorite open flowers for the bees, verbena. They are very good for the bee population. Each of these individual flowers will be a source of honey for the bees. All the spring sown lettuces are going into seed, so I'm harvesting as much as possible, and then once they go into seed, then I'll just rip them off. Pride, joy, ochre. Very happy to see how it has been growing. Initially I was a little bit worried, but I didn't see it grow or sprout much, but now it is doing its best. That is chives, and this is the back plot of the allotment. It is UCHIKI KURI. I don't know whether I'm pronouncing it correct. The vine, I just gave it a guidance and now it's climbing by itself. There are loads more of these little squashes on. The corn bed looks really healthy with around 4 pumpkins or 5 pumpkins. So you can see there's a green pumpkin. There are 3 pumpkins. Most of the pumpkins are gifted by the neighbors in the allotment. But they are all doing good. So there are 2 large white pumpkin plants at the end. Here these are large white pumpkin plant. There's another one there, and there's another one there. They will sprawl into, my plan is to direct them or guide them to sprawl into the corn bed, so that they will utilize the ground space. This is Malabar spinach. They are just picking up. It should be really well grown by now. It's just picking up, and they're having some slug damage. Again, the slugs have found them. So they are a climber, so they will climb along the chicken mesh. And the Malabar spinach is interplanted with more gladioli. It will look really good when they start to flower. And there is a cucumber at the end in one of the buckets. At this end, this is CHOW. So let's go into just next to the greenhouse. I have a raspberry bush, and this time the raspberries have been huge. Until this year, we were getting tiny raspberries. This year it is huge. Inside the greenhouse, I'm not very happy because I've started to see signs of blight, but they are looking lush. So that is a cucumber. I'm going to chop it back, keep it under control. It is suffocating all the plants around. So I will chop it way back to see, because I can only spot male flowers in that cucumber. So it's lots of beans, morge to snow peas, and this is aubergine. So these are the flowers, and there's my first aubergine. Really happy to see. Again, I am thinning the leaves of the aubergine as well, because there's far too many leaves. You can see the cucumber, they're all male flowers. There are very few female flowers. If I can get a chance to show them, I'll show it to you. And And so there is Blight. That is definitely Blight. That is my only Roma tomato in the greenhouse, and it's got Blight. That has got to go now before it starts to spread to the others. By chopping off the infected stem, you can only slow it down, you cannot prevent it. Unfortunately, there's no cure for Blight. Now, these are some of my harvests. So broccoli, amaranth leaves, more lettuces, sweet pea, blackcurrant, broad beans, plenty of harvest this month, even though the weather has been good. I hope you enjoyed this video. Stay safe. See you soon. Enjoy the weather. And see you soon with another video.